Hello, welcome. My name is Tracy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Australia. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to make this quite simple card, and it's using two stamp sets from the annual catalogue that I haven't used in a little while. Now, one that I really like, this sentiment, is Thinking of You, and I really do a lot of cards with the sentiment Thinking of You because they're not only good for sympathy cards, they're good to give to friends who you haven't heard from in a little while or that are going through a bit of a hard spell. So it's a really nice sentiment, and it's a great set of cards that I always have on stash to give out to friends and family. So let's bring in that stamp sets that I'm talking about. So we have the Sheltering Tree, which has been fantastic. It's a really great set, and we're just using the sentiment from this one. And the other stamp set is Touches of Texture. This was a very popular stamp set, and I haven't seen it used a lot lately, so I'm happy to bring that back for a little while. And I'm actually doing another card with this set as well, so stay tuned for that one as well. We're using the Decorative Ribbon Border Punch. I have the Versamark ink, and I'm using copper embossing powder with the heat tool and the embossing buddy, and also linen thread. Okay, so I have my card kit here all ready to go, and you can find all the measurements and supplies over on my blog. There is a link to my blog post in the description of this video. Also, there's a link to my online store where you can purchase all your Stampin' Up supplies if you live in Australia and you don't already have a demonstrator. I have inquiry rewards to reward my customers, so and if you put in the hostess code for the month, I'll also send you out a free gift. So there is some great incentives there. So we have Blackberry Bliss, Crumb Cake, Whisper White, and some vellum in the card kit. So this is a really beautiful card kit, I think. So let's get started. We're going to start off with this crumb cake, and it's the smaller of the two, and I have one for the inside. So let's get all this embossing done. So I'm just bringing in my mat as well, and let's make sure it's the right way. Yep. So let's bring in that stamp, and this is the stamp we're using from the Touches of Texture. So it's on the 2 of 2 stamp, and it's this one here. We're going to ink it up in the Versamark. And I'm just going to use the embossing buddy just to make sure I don't get any stray bits of powder. Now I must admit, the copper is a very pretty colour in the embossing. Can you see that? I find them everywhere. I don't know how I get them everywhere. That's the backing of a mini dimensional, but I certainly get them everywhere. Okay. Now I find this powder really works really well. It doesn't go everywhere where it's not supposed to, and I know I've used the embossing buddy, but this powder is not quite as fine as like my silver and my black, so I find that it doesn't go in places where it's not supposed to go quite as much. So I'm going to heat that with the heat tool, and then we're going to come back and do a bit more embossing. There we go, so that heats really well. We're bringing in the piece of Whisper White. I'm going to bring my embossing buddy in once more. And with that sentiment we're going to, which is Thinking of You, we're going to ink that up in the Versamark. Hopefully I've centered that all right. Bring in the powder back in. Yep. And before I get the heat tool out again, I'm just going to pop that to the side. I'm going to bring in my card base. It's already scored in the middle. I'm just going to bring my bone folder in and burnish those edges really well. And I'm bringing in this stamp here, and we're going to use the Versamark. And I just want to get the edges of that card, and I'm doing both edges. Powder in again. Okay, and lastly, the inside of our card. Now for my card, I actually did it in Blackberry Bliss. You can see that. I'm going to heat emboss it as well. So let's just ink up that stamp again. I'm just going to do down the bottom right hand side. Perfect. Okay, so I've tidied up my desk just slightly. I'm going to bring the heat tool in and let's melt that embossing powder. Okay, so now it's just a matter of popping it all together. So I have my inside piece. I'm just going to place some glue all the way around. And place that inside my card. Oop. This one's just going to be adhered to the front of the card base as well, so let's do that really quickly. Now I'm popping it more over to the right, so there's more of a border on the left. If I put it down the right way, which I didn't, let's pull that up. Make sure you know what way your card opens. That could have been disastrous. Okay. Now I've got my piece of Blackberry Bliss. We're going to pop that in the decorative ribbon punch. I'm just going to create that nice little scallop border underneath. I'm going to feed that one through. Now this is also a punch that I used it a lot at the beginning, but haven't used it for quite a while, so this probably may retire, so I want to sort of use the stuff that I've bought. Okay, so that's definitely going to be enough. I've used a fairly large piece just so I had enough room. And I'm going to attach the scallop piece to that thinking of you sentiment. So I'm just going to put a little bit of tape or glue on the bottom of the sentiment. I'm finding, so I cover those little holes. Perfect. And then I'm just going to take off that excess. And this is going to be attached to our vellum, so let's pop a little bit more adhesive down, popping that in the middle of the vellum, and then we're going to border cut the vellum. Just for a little bit of extra dimension there. Now I'm just going to put another layer of adhesive down and just over where the Whisper White piece is. You don't want to go any further than that because it will show through the vellum. So let's place that down. The last thing is we're going to bring in that linen thread, and I have done quite a few layers here. I wanted it to be look really pretty and have quite a few layers there, so I've got I think 4 layers there, which I think I worked out was about 48 inches, but you certainly don't have to use that much. You can wrap around just a couple of times. Going to tie a knot in the middle there and then just do a bow. Cut off my tails, and I'm also going to just bring in a glue dot and just stick in underneath that knot, just to secure it a little bit better. So I'm going to just take my piercing tool and I'm going to roll it over slightly. There we go, just like that. And that just secures that really nicely. Okay. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's card. It is a very quick and simple card, but so elegant with this gorgeous copper embossing. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all back here very soon. Okay, bye.